So they ask you a question, how do you respond? So I know that a few people now will know about the STAR method, but does anyone else have been to a government interview and used the STAR method to respond to any questions? Okay, great. So what this is a tool that you can use to structure your responses. Now I can't help you with your responses because I don't know about your background or your experience, but this is the way that you want to respond. And that is, you want to talk about your situation first. So that's the S in the STAR. Explain what happened. What did you have to do? What was the situation? What was your involvement? Next is task. What areas did you have to complete? What were the key things that you had to bring to this situation? Action. This is the real selling point. This is where you sell to that panel of why you're so good for this job. You want to list the steps that you took. Problem solving is always a great example. So tell me about a time where you encountered a problem. Well, the problem was that, I'm thinking off the top of my head, I was renting out my property. So what I had to do was find a tenant for my investment property. So what I did was I made some phone calls to real estate agents. I interviewed them. I had a plan. I structured my questions. And at the end, the result was, because I'd planned so well, I could map out what I was looking for, and the result was I went with people who were the most cost effective, who were the friendliest, and who had the biggest reach of tenants. So that's just an example that I came off on the top of my head. Obviously, if I'd prepared the night before, I would have been able to give you a better example. But that gives you an idea that by using this format, even if you haven't prepared for that question, it can trigger, right, so what's my situation? What's my task? What was the action that I took and what was the result? Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a positive result, but if you are going to talk about something that didn't go your way, make sure you can articulate what you learned from it. Sometimes they ask you those really awful questions. Tell me a time when you failed, which is awkward because sometimes you want to say, I've never failed. I've never failed at anything. That's just not true. What they're looking for is how you can be really self-aware and do you learn from your mistakes.